a question. I don't know how many of you guys watch television, but those of you that do, are you ever frustrated by the volume of commercials? When you're watching a show, you got commercials, he's like, hell yeah, I am. Like, God, it's ridiculous. I don't even know, I mean, my wife has this internet TV thing where there's very few commercials now.
That's what I do.
Is that what
I don't watch TV.
But there are still commercials, right?
There are, but it's
30 seconds at a time or something like that.
limited, yeah.
Sure. And I'm sure that the budgetary item of it, because like satellite or antenna drawn TV, you get for free essentially. Put an antenna up and you catch. So they have to make their money not from you personally paying them, which is what Hulu, whatever it is.
They make it from advertising.
They make it from advertising. So there's still obviously an advertising need for the paid TV, but it's not as much. So what's interesting is that Josie's claim, very good, I'm going to give you credit for it, is it actually went to Congress. You may remember this. December 13, 2012, the long-awaited FCC rule that TV commercials cannot be louder than the TV show that someone is watching is finally going into effect. This is so important. It went to Congress. I was like, great, this is going to Congress. And we still have people that can't work in America. But we're going to take care of the commercials, nonetheless. So it's interesting. They actually put a rule in. They put a rule, and I've got some more details on this next slide, I believe. Yep, here we go. I went ahead and did some background checking. There's actually a little poll that you can take on the FCC's website. Have you ever been blasted by an excessively loud TV commercial in the last 6 months? Yes, make it stop. No, the law seems to be working. I can tell a Math 244 student didn't design that question. Right? None of you, I'm fine if you did, none of you would have designed that question. Why? It's completely biased. It's completely leading. Have you been blasted by an excessive, oh God, yeah, it's pitching you a softball. Of course you're going to click yes, right? And if you don't click yes, no says the same thing. Yes, make it stop. No, the law's working. Nowhere on there is your law was a waste of my taxpayer money.
Right.
Let me click that radio button.
Yeah.
But you can't do that because not only is the question biased, the two choices are the same choice. So I know a 244 student didn't design that. And here are the responses. Here are the responses. Here are the responses. So there you go. 100% of people agree with the FCC. And not to mention the fact that the question is biased, but it's also on the FCC site, which you can only find if you're reading the news and following the links through. So there's biased in multiple ways. Lawmakers asked FCC to report on TV commercial volume. And the broadcast has been complying. So now they put the law into effect, and then a year later, or 6 months later, they want to see if it's actually working. Two sponsors of the commercial advertising loudness mitigation, asked for an update. So, let's give them an update, shall we? Grab your data sheets. I've got some data for us to play with. This is a bit dated, unfortunately. I haven't had time to update this data, mostly because I don't have time to watch television anymore. But also because I don't have the necessary instruments to measure this to any degree of accuracy, so I poached this data from an old Texas study. I think it was 2009 or 2010. But I'll get better data eventually. But it's okay. We can use the data we've got. Okay? Yeah. So, we can at least, even if it's old data, we can at least check to see if the commercials are louder than the shows on average, right? I mean, we can check that because this would have been 2009, 2010 before the law went into effect. So if we can show that they're louder, then maybe we'd be like, oh, okay, my taxpayer dollars are going towards doing something besides nothing.